Hello. So
Hello, Ines.
so happy to welcome you here. Welcome to this amazing podcast. I wanted to do this for so long with you actually, because it inspired me so much. You know, the cleanse I did with you, and I feel this topic is really not spoken very much into the world, or at least at a very surface level. And you were, I mean, the first person I heard um, to bring this here, to bring this topic, how Parasite Cleanse is like incredible, profound spiritual transformation in all areas of our lives. So I want to welcome you here, Daniela, and I wanted to introduce yourself a bit
Yes,
here
yes,
to those who are listening.
thank you. I'll introduce myself.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Hi, guys. So thank you so much, Ines, for inviting me on this. I am very excited about it and very excited to share. It's something that I don't share as much as I would like to. I am Doctor Daniela Donoso. I studied traditional Chinese medicine in China and trained in China. And after that, then I stayed practicing in Asia. So I'm mostly Bali based, but since 6 years, I created my business on detox programs. So all around the world, we're providing support on people, guiding them through detox, and we're targeting the main organs of the body. So that will be liver, which is the main detox organ in the body. Then we have gut cleanse, and we have lymphatic and kidney system. And through this, it has grown and rippled so much or amplified that now we are also offering detoxes around the world. As I was sharing before with Ines, now we're offering in Dubai and we're offering here in Tulum, and who knows where that would expand. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Thank you so much. So the reason why I did this, they want to do this podcast, it's because I'm so in the end of 2023. No, we started actually in the beginning of the year. I remember it was the first day or second day that we started, 2nd January. So to start the year a year ago, I was in Bali, and I saw your detox, and I remember to feel like, okay, I have to do this. I don't know why I have to do this. Um, I heard about parasites. I think 2021 when I was first diagnostic with the diagnostic, how to say diagnostic, with
Yeah.
the parasites. I was in Costa Rica, and I remember that the healer that
Mm.
she was doing a colon cleanse, and she was telling me that, okay, you really have to do a parasite cleanse. And I remember I did it first, and I felt a change in my energy system, even in my intimacy. I remember perfectly that I used to struggle with candida, food intolerances, and being always with fatigue, stressed. And I'm also Vata type, so I used to struggle a lot with anxiety. It's actually one of my weak points. So for the Vata types, so cleansing the gut was incredible, but I never found that cleanse I did in Costa Rica again. So I think for 2 years I didn't do any, like a proper one. And then when I was in Bali, I saw one and I did it. And I did it with my best friend at the time, and it was a profound spiritual experience. Profound spiritual experience. At the time, I was about to launch my magnetic codes program, that is now doing its third season. And I remember that it completely changed my energy field. I think nowadays we underestimate the bodies. We work out on a spiritual level, at a consciousness level, but if we don't purify the bodies, I feel that we will always have a blockage energetically. And I realized that parasites are actually entities that trap us into the past. And the first thing that I noticed after doing the parasite cleanse with you was cutting cords with relationships. And I was doing so much cord cuttings with a specific relationship that I couldn't just like get over with. And after the cleanse, it was incredible. I had to feel my frequency shifting, a kind of detachment happening, and the person wanting to come back to me. That was one of the first signs that I realized with the detox. And also, like you mentioned, that it also impacts financially. And I also felt finances moving, and some karmic knots and patterns that I used to be attached to leaving my energy field, like old clients leaving my energy field. That also, to not speak about the amount of energy I gained with that. And the reason why I called you now, it's because I actually didn't know that your, for those who are listening to me and are in, especially in Dubai, know that Daniela now offers this cleanse. If you are here, it can be shipped next day for you. And there are places that are in collaboration that can do the food, because the most difficult part of this program is the food situation, because you have a specific diet that is very hard to follow. and, and and but if you have the help of the system that you created that delivers it into your house, makes it much easier, because you have a lot of restrictions. But if you have the protocol that sends it to your house, it's much easier. You can completely do it. It becomes very easy, from difficult to become very easy.
Yes.
Now,
We also provide to Abu Dhabi.
wow, that's very good to know. So
Mhm.
what I realized is, I didn't know about this. So as actually I was doing my cleanse, I bought the things and I added more things also, and I was doing it, and I realized, oh my God, like I experienced again this release around relationships. My whole frequency changed, and I'm like, okay, I really want to share that, but I really want um, someone with a deep knowledge, with a deep science, and the deep sciences around that, not just like the spiritual transformation we I can completely share and I completely understand, but also the science behind it, the all the shamanic and Chinese medicine sciences behind that you could share, because it's so profoundly transformational and people underestimate. You can do all the kind of energy systems and cleanses and energy rituals, but if your body is not purified, the process is not 100% complete.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, the reason why I felt to also bring you in and share a bit.
Amazing. I love everything that you are saying. And I fully resonate with that, especially after to create all these detox programs. I have to try them on myself. I have to test them. I have to see how it works. And I'm constantly always doing them. So I notice I start through time, I've started noticing what happens, how it changes, and feeling like, okay, putting the links, relationships, finance, manifesting so quickly. Like it's insane. The results that it gives is not only physical. So to if you want me to, I can go through the explanation of how this happens. Um, I in my experience, I have a combination of traditional Chinese medicine explanation, and then from my life experience, which I grew up in a family that I've been detoxing since I'm 2 to 3 years old, right? Because when I was
Um,
2 years old, I had a tumor, a huge tumor, caused by Western medicine or medications. And then my mom really changed her life completely into like very alkaline diet and finding ways to detox. And then that's how I grew up with all the detox processes, and we test and try. So when I found myself after graduating from Chinese medicine, it's like, what am I going to do? For me, it was so clear that detox was something that I fully speak the language of. So I blend them through Chinese medicine. And what Chinese medicine has to say about this is that um, our body, it's not only physical, right? So we all know that, and probably everybody that's listening here, it's very aware that our body is physical, it's spiritual and emotional, right? So each body that I just mentioned has a different vibration. So if there are physical parasites, they're definitely going to be emotional parasites, and they're definitely going to be spiritual or energetical parasites, right? So there is no way something that exists physically would not exist energetically or emotionally or spiritually, right? So as they basically trying to say like whatever we can see here is a reflex of whatever we can't see. So our thoughts, right, our sensations, our spiritual realm, they all get influence of what we do. So every time a person tries to change their life for the better in their health and their diet, sleeping better, taking care of their body, they see the shift in their lives immediately, right? Of course, when we go on a deep cleanse, we are basically deeply changing all that feels. So we're deeply changing our emotions, we're deeply changing our spirit and the way we see things. So as I went through all the detox and me still holding space for people. So for now, we have hold more than 500 people going through detox, and I seen their
Wow.
changes, and I see my changes, and something that I would see is that first the way I would think, right? At the beginning, we think uh like we're going through like detox symptoms and so on, but then suddenly as we go to the end, we start even thinking much more positive about life, right? Probably anxiety starts reducing and so on. And the reason also why this happens, for example, in terms of anxiety, candida, you mentioned like candida is one of like a fungi or parasite fungi kind of thing, like it overgrows in the body, and candida produces metabolic waste, right? Metabolic waste, it means like us, right? We urinate, we create sweat, we create bowel movements and so on. So candida does the same, and the metabolic waste of the candida, or the life of, or the waste of its life processes, produces anxiety, right? So that's in the physical aspect of it. But when we release candida, then we don't have anxiety anymore, right? Why we don't have anxiety anymore? Why are we feeling more clear? Because we already clear it physically. But then we also start like seeing things in a better shape, feeling more resilient. Our body has a better set. So every aspect that happens physically would definitely have a ripple effect on the other body types. I don't know if that makes sense.
Wow, that's really interesting. And also in Chinese medicine, I also learned that the gut, and it's one of our three brains, the three dantians, right? So we also learn in Taoism, in my Taoist and tantric arts teacher training, that we have the mind, that we have the heart, and then we have the gut. And if you think about the gut, it's where we have this in my on my side, it's where I channel my intuition. I know exactly if I'm in the right place or not through my gut. My gut will tell me. When I see someone that I have still unresolved karma, I will feel it through my gut. I will experience this little anxiety that will happen, and I will have actually problems on digesting food. I will, because it's the way I'm digesting these relationships, the way I'm digesting life is also how I digest food. It's also it's connected. So I feel that when we have parasites and we clean those parasites, I feel that we are also letting go of that karma, of those emotions, healing them. Just the intention, when I start the parasite cleanse, I also have the intention what I'm going to release in this cycle. It's a spiritual journey. We go, in your case, for 5 days. What's the deep intention of it? What you want to release from your life? So, and also I was reading the other day about the gut and the scientific part that we have actually like neurons, and through also to the vagus nerve, it's also connected with the mind. So when the parasites are, very active, and we all also have darker thoughts, there is that when because they're really liberating like these toxins, and they're making us more anxious, and they are always influencing our thoughts, and if they are connected with our past, with those emotions, with that karma, with a person, it's going to affect our thoughts. And I feel that my mind goes into those loops also.
Yes, yes, for sure. So just mentioning what you said about the three dantians, yes, I love that. That's also it's part of Chinese medicine theory. It's kind of deep knowledge actually. And just to bring in like the basis of how Chinese medicine works, it's like we believe that the body it's a circulation flow system, right? So when the circulation goes in harmony and balance, we're happy, we're healthy, and we feel free and we feel expansive. But when the circulation or the qi, that's how we call it, circulation of energy or qi, gets stuck, it's where illnesses, diseases start happening. So for parasites, we always mention that parasites are a stagnation of circulation. That's how we would diagnose it in Chinese medicine.
Wow.
So back in the days, like 5,000 years ago, they were in labs to see how the parasites move or which type of parasites or where it is. But we could feel through the pulse or through the tongue if there is stuck energy on a specific organ, then we would know there it's kind of like a way to say there's parasites there because the energy is being stuck, right? So when we are stuck in the energy, then we're stuck the flow. And when we stuck the flow, we stuck the flow of everything, not only nutrition, oxygen, also information, neurotransmitters, right? So when you said, oh, I have a problem, I have parasites, I feel in my digestion, I can't connect with myself, things feel blurry, I can't fully feel it. And when you mention about the three dantians, so each organ it has a specific emotion and a specific spirit in Chinese medicine. So this we're going even more deeper in Chinese medicine theory. So when we talk about, for example, the gut it's in two parts, right? We know the small intestine and the big intestine. And the small intestine, which is usually one of the biggest part in our gut, it's connected with the heart, right? It's the assistant of the heart. So
Wow.
uh, in Chinese medicine, the heart symbolizes the Shen, which you probably, once you study Tao Tantric arts, the Shen is the spirit, it's the mind, it's how we feel things, how we express our awareness. So if the small intestine is stuck, if the flow is stuck, then we're going to feel that. And that's where our gut intuition or coming from the gut because it's the one that's making it the process of it. As well, if we go through the physical aspect, and that's why also people gain weight. When we gain weight, we are trying to retain emotions because in the fat, it's where we store neurotransmitters or emotions that we can't feel with it in the moment. So it's a way to protect. But as we go through detox and lose the weight or lose toxins that are being stuck in there, we also release them at the same time.
Wow.
So the more we yeah,
I was just having a question. So the parasites live also in the small intestine and the large intestine, or just one of the intestines?
Yeah, good question. So I was gonna mention that. I forgot to say. So parasites can live anywhere. So there is not such thing as just only the intestines. They can live in the liver. They can live in your spleen. They can go up to the brain, right? Like most of brain problems are
Like
due
the
to
worms can go into the brain?
they can go into the brain. They can
What?
go everywhere because they are different types of them and different sizes. So some of them go through the bloodstream. So that's why I always tell in my opening ceremonies that yes, you can get a lab test of your stools and find out if you have parasites, but that's not the accurate truth because parasites can be anywhere in the body. So just with your stools, it will not tell us where are your parasites or what's going on. And most diseases are produced by parasites and by bacteria going all around the body. And most people don't know because there is no actual diagnosis for this. So they can test from around 14 types of parasites when we have more than 1,000.
No
So that's,
way.
yeah. Yeah. And sometimes even cancer or tumors are produced because of parasites, right? So when we do parasite cleanse, we're basically preventing huge problems in the future.
So your parasite cleanse, because now I know something new because I thought it was just for the intestine, but no, it's for the whole body.
It's for the whole
No
body.
way, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Also
I
the
do
liver.
yes, the liver as well. So I targeted as the intestines because intestine, it creates a very favorable or a nice environment for them to live. So they somehow kind of end up returning there. But usually the biggest ones stay in the intestine because it's much easier for them. But small ones they can go everywhere. But also the herbs that we use, so they in the herbs, the secret is to tackle all of them. So we are tackling the intestine because it's a pathway to release out, but we're really also going through the body as well. So we make sure they are eradicated too. So from the bloodstream, from different organs, right? So making sure that that's why we want the diet so important, because once we alkaline the body with the diet, then they don't like to live in an alkaline place. So they start finding ways to go out, right? And then the intestine walls, we drive them through the intestine, it's much easier to take them out. So usually that's the process.
That's very interesting. So, for example, if the diet is very important, so if the person, the purpose that as long as understood that not eat anything meat and animal, it's more for alkalize the body because they don't like
Exactly.
to live in a alkaline body. So when we don't do the alkaline, if you are eating very clean, but we have something that is like a bit acid, it doesn't work in that way. It doesn't work.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Because when we go through those 5 days, we really want to tackle as much as we can. And if we make it very alkaline, then it works the best, right? Many people are like, well, I eat mostly high protein, and like why I'm gonna eat like vegan right now. And I'm say, and my recommendation, like long term, yes, you can eat your normal high protein diet, but during the detox, we need it alkaline, because it's the way that, because parasites, they get feed and nourished with protein, they get activated actually.
No
And
way.
actually, yeah, and sometimes when people have, or when we people are very, like, we really know they have parasites, then we don't recommend them multivitamins because it also activates them, they feed from our food as well. So what we do is that we just make sure it's fully alkaline, and they just like, I don't like this, I just rather die. So they just go and leave the body. So that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, one of the things that I was experiencing recently because I was doing the parasites and I want to really I want to ask you that and bring your knowledge into that is I was feeling, so I did the parasite and then I waited like a week or something and 2 weeks and I felt I need to do it again because they put eggs, right? So I was
Mm.
doing it again and I felt that the second time was much more powerful than the first time somehow, like much more, like no comparison. And I was feeling very sick. I didn't feel it like when I was doing, for example, in Bali, I did just once, and I feel yeah, there was my body and there was I was going through the purging, but I didn't have sick feelings. Like also, I did the first time, I didn't have it, but the second time, I was feeling like with fever.
Super
Yeah,
common. Yeah.
like I was literally dying. I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get out of this? Like really,
Yeah.
like so sick. Yeah, why this is happening?
So parasites, they are happy in your body. So when we try to take them out, then they start reacting to it. It's like they're just putting a tantrum. So as you go through the deeper level, the more deeper you go through the cleanse, sometimes you tackle those ones that are hard to get. And those that are hard to get usually also have more strength because they had more strength on staying there in the first level. But once you do a second one, you really tackle them, and that's when they start creating those reactions. So most of the time, you can get like stomach ache and pain, and people are like, "Well, this detox is not working. I'm getting all the symptoms," and I'm like, "That is." We call them dia symptom, right? So we have, uh, yeah, we have ways to know how to deal with them. So that's why it's very good when they're constantly connecting with me, because then I can guide them, depends on their body type and where they're at. They'll be like, okay, if you have fever, please go take this. Please, oh, depends on what happens in their life, then I would know what to do, since it's something that I face this every day. So some people get confused and it's like, whoa, it's not working, or this it doesn't work for me. Maybe I'm too sensitive. And usually, yes, at the second detox or third detox, and when it really kicks on. And it generates all kinds of symptoms. So for different people, it can be different type of symptoms. So in your case was fever and stomach ache, right? You mentioned that.
Yeah, I'm feeling like my body, yeah, is having fever, and especially I was feeling the brain, like the body was getting so cold. Body was getting so cold, and I was actually watching this video about also parasites and gut cleanses and everything that is dying. If they are really dying in your body, there is this chemical reaction because they influence your brain, so you start to feel the way they are feeling. You start dying because they are dying, so you feel it's like a baby. You feel like what the baby is feeling, so you start feeling what they are feeling. So it's good that you're feeling it because it means that they are really like, oh.
Yes,
And
you start feeling what they're feeling, and you start craving what they're craving. Even you start like having also those dark thoughts come back again. And sometimes I get people, and they're like with all the emotional things. They text me, and they're like, "I want a refund," and get so upset. So I'm
No
so
way.
good at this already. Like they just get so angry, and like all those emotions that are releasing through the time, and then I have to explain them that it's just part of the phase, but it will go away. And then as I help them and support them with different things that can help them ease through the process, then it's much better. And that's why we now are adding in breath work, and we're adding in more like emotional support, because
Very important.
it is
Yeah.
it is part of the journey, and because the journey is so short and intense, so people go through lots of things. But I would say that happens every 10% of my clients, right?
If they
Because not
really
all of
choose to go deep.
if they really
Depends of the intention.
yes, those that choose to go deep, it happens. But usually in a 5 day, it's not as disturbing, it's not as affected, and it's all created for people to like still be busy on their day and still go on a cleanse, because we don't want people to just move, or how do you say that word in English, like just move aside their health. We want them to, oh, they got the intention of cleansing, can I do a cleanse? But I'm busy, let's still do it, right? So I want them to give the chance to still do it in our busy schedule, and not just wait until holidays, which is once a year or next year, for them to do it. So I can manage it to make it on a and it's meant for everyone on a busy schedule.
So you recommend it like you do it and after 2 weeks you do it again, and every 6 months this. How do you recommend it?
Yeah, the recommendation is usually minimum. Well, it depends on the person, right? So ideally, what I recommend is to go a full body detox. And full body detox targeting or tackling the three main detox organs. So you go on liver, and then after that you do lymphatic. So ideally you do all three, and that you can do one after the other one, because each of them is just 5 days. So in total you'll target like 2 weeks and something, 17 days, considering there's post detox, which is like slowly coming back to normal life. But some people just because of timing or where they're at in life, they just can do one. So if your question is when can they do the next one after that, I would say first it's going to depend on the person's timing. They can go next one on the next week, or ideally if they want to make enough time apart, they can do within three weeks minimum, right? So usually they can have a 3 weeks gap, and it's kind of like once a month will work. I recommend in total in a year to at least do 3 parasite cleanse, or like or a cleanse, not just parasite, it can be any, it can be liver, it can be lymphatic, but at least 3 cleanses a year. So kind of like one each transition of the season, right? So every time we transition, and that's something that Chinese medicine always mentions about, like every time we change seasons, we have to change diet, we have to clear up. It's like every time you're changing cycles, you kind of like have to wrap this one up to be ready for the next one. So that's also the recommendation.
It's so incredible. I really recommend this cleanse, especially now that we are on the magnetic codes program, and it's all about magnetism, because magnetism is, I'm really teaching people how to run energy, because magnetism ultimately, it's how you you run energy into your life, how you allow life flow through you, receive, attract the right opportunities, the right, be in the path of your right purpose. And
Yeah, I
how
love that.
can we truly get clear about what we are here to do and our purpose, and read the signs of the universe and to the body if our bodies are not purified. So I truly recommend that gut cleanse is ultimately important. And you mentioned, and I mentioned before, and when we were talking, that also it impacts our finances because it is also an energy. I remember when I started doing your detox, I had like a lot of signups after to my courses, and I had like private clients. And every time that I clean my body, I also experience that, just not in the relationship part that I see this massive cord cutting, like I step in another frequency. I even start to not feel attracted by that person anymore, even though I did all the kind of cord cuttings and magic rituals to clear the karma. it, there is something powerful with the parasites, and I feel the same with the financial part. And how do you have experienced that with yourself and your clients? And explain me like what this is working. It's magic.
This is my favorite part aspect of it. So the other day I was channeling a little bit of what is this, why it happens so much, and it gave me a very right answer. So if you see all the religions in the world, all the spirituality in the world, they all fast, they all go on a cleanse to really channel and really connect in a line, right? So I don't know, Jesus, he went on the desert for 40 days and he didn't eat anything, right? So in Islam, then they have the fasting days, right? What's the name that they do, and not eat, but before that, the whole month of fasting, right?
Mhm.
So if you see it, probably in Judaism there's going to be something like that. So if you see, all ancient traditions always have used cleansings and fasting as a way to self-connect, in a way to manifest, a way to really clear that pathway. And that's exact what it happens every time we do it. So as I always share, like, I noticed how my body starts becoming that reflect of how I express life. And as we say, whatever is physical, it's also energetical. So it's gonna always influence both ways, right? So I noticed that every time, again, every time I cleanse, I get the most, it's like the most packed month of, or I get the most amount of clients, I get more opportunities, more collaborations. Actually, I remember I was kind of challenging this thing about Jesus being uh, fasting. The other day I was at the gym and I was also coconut water fasting, and then you sent me a message, it's like, hey, let's do a podcast. And I was like, wow, we're just thinking about this, and it just, it things start flowing more easily. And why things are starting more flowing more easily, I always go back to the body, right? So this is something that I heard when I was a teenager by like a spiritual teacher I follow, this, most of you know, that he was mentioning how our abundance, our currency was in our blood, because our blood, if you see the red blood cells, there's like currencies, and they all get distributed, and they all get like nourishing the body in different ways and changing oxygens and all the nutrients, right? So it's kind of like an inner bank system. So I also noticed that every time we are cleaning our blood, we're cleaning our inner bank system, and that's how like abundance starts flowing within us, right?
Wow. And there are also
And I
cleanses
was,
for blood, right?
yes, so all the cleanses are targeting the blood, right? Because the blood is being produced by the organs. So that's why I always recommend full body detox, so we can really go on the organs functions, which is producing and clearing the blood as well, especially liver. Liver is the one that stores the blood, clears it, distributes it. So liver, it at the beginning it was one of the most important ones, because it was the one in charge of this. So actually, how I started my business, and as I did like 3 liver flushes, and the first class I did about detox, it was packed with 20 people. So that was like and that was the first class I ever did in this business. And I was like, wow, I just thought it was just gonna be my neighbors, and there's like 20 people just came in. So it's
Wow.
it's crazy how like manifestation and abundance and expansiveness happens. And what I also realize is that the more we get close to who we are and who we are as essence, right? And who we are as essence, we are abundance, we are magnetism, we are all the goodness and all the light. So the more we clear things that no longer serve us and get rid of all those things that are stalking that to be, because that's who we are, then it's just much easier for the universe to provide us, because we don't have all those how you say blockages or things that are affecting the flow or the in of that energy. And that's why you start feeling more magnetic, right? Like with anything that you do, you came here to do what's your purpose, and every person's purpose is so different. But then it's just, and it becomes more clear for you, your emotions becomes more clear, what you want to do becomes more clear, channeling and ideas and the words and the people, right? Like I found it so crazy when you text me. I just saw a story of you in my Instagram, and I was like, I just saw her, and then now she's texting me. It's like, what? It's like this. And even I told you in the voice message, like, this is crazy.
It's
But
insane.
yes, and I keep getting surprised, and it's been 6 years since I've been doing this and being more aware of that, and I still get surprised every day.
It's insane. And wow, it's incredible. The moment that we start cleaning from our lives, anything. So letting go of the house that you are not supposed to in, but you are attached to be in, letting go of the person that it's just not meant to be in your life anymore, letting go of the job, and something else will come. And it's the same,
Magic.
it's the same protocol of magnetism. Ultimately, this is such a tantric magnetic ritual. It
Yeah,
is, and
yeah,
this is why
yeah.
it fits so much. And I recommend everyone that is doing like the magnetic codes and but hopefully I want to do actually a retreat, the magnetic codes retreat that I have with parasite
Yeah.
cleanse. I think that will be like ultimate. Like I don't know, I don't know how that's
Yeah.
gonna go, but I think in person should be something exquisite. And I have a question, like how do you feel the differences between the gut cleanse and the liver cleanse? Because the liver cleanse, I imagine that you should be super like there, because there is no fats, right? It's completely that's how I imagine, no, like completely no fats.
Yeah, so it's a fully vegan, fat-free diet, because during the liver cleanse, we want to avoid the bile, which is a fluid that the liver produces to get stored as much as possible. And the bile only activates when we eat animal protein and when we eat fats. So if we store her at the end of the cleanse, we're gonna bring in a specific flush mix that's gonna activate it in a way that comes out like a fountain and release all the stock toxins in the liver, right? So that's why we do it, and there's a purpose for it. It's not a diet that I recommend long term, but it works for the cleanse. So that's why it's different in terms of parasite cleanse, because parasite cleanse we are having a diet that it's alkaline, very much alkaline. So there's a lot of greens, and then we also use the antiparasitic fruits. And antiparasitic fruits they are still fruits, and some people are like, why am I eating fruits or sugar through the parasite cleanse? And it's because these fruits have a specific enzymes that kills the parasites. So through the sugar, it attracts them and then gets them. So there are specific fruits that can do that, and that would be like papaya, pineapple, coconut,
Yes,
tamarind, lime.
if you
So
eat the
there's,
seeds,
and the seeds are even
if you
better.
eat the seeds. That's what
Yeah,
I added this time because I don't remember if I had papaya with you. Like I don't remember if it was then the protocol, but I now I'm eating out of the seeds, and it's like yeah, it's a journey.
yes, the seeds makes it another level. So that's why we add the seeds in the mixtures. So in the bundle, we have the seeds already in a pill, because the seeds don't taste so good. So I capsule them. So then you're taking the seeds plus you're taking the food, and then that makes like the best combination of it. But yeah, the seeds are definitely very, very important because they're the ones that actually have the anti-parasitic effect. Yeah.
Yes.
I, I wanted to mention something that this is a question my sister always does to me. And she was like, well, I know you're realizing this about your abundance and how your life flows when you're cleansing, but can you be cleansing all your life? Right? Like how you can live like this, just cleansing. And then that was a great question that she gave to me. And that's why yes, cleansing can help to shift things, and it's something that you should do from time to time, and especially when you feel stuck and you really want to change things or change the point of view of something. So that's great. But then that's why we recommend a healthy lifestyle, because when you have a healthy lifestyle, right, and that's the more long-term healthy lifestyle, and eating more alkaline diet doesn't mean it has to be full alkaline, but more alkaline things, drinking things that are helping your body to be in flow, your blood always being cleansing. So kind of like supporting your body through your normal lifestyle. And that's how you can maintain the magnetism. That's how you can maintain, like being able to always stay connected with yourself and channel. So as long as you support a healthy lifestyle and not just only cleansing, and that's also that stays with you.
Exactly. And I feel like when I come out of the cleanses, also we have to be aware and be gentle with our bodies. But intuitively, I have difficulties in going into the normal food immediately, because I feel like I have raised my frequency. I'm this high, like pure frequency state, and I just
Mm-hmm.
can detect when the food is not as purified, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go there. So it
Mm-hmm.
it becomes almost natural. So like, how can I come back to natural life? I think it's very natural when you really erase. It's like, we did ayahuasca and you vomit, and then you are eating the vomit. You just can't do it, right? You just
Okay.
can't do
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
yeah, you come back to your normal life, but you will automatically feel resistance to go into the patterns of life, that relationship, that way of living, that way of eating. You will feel resistance. Maybe you come back in maybe you come back maybe in 2 or 3 months, but immediately I find it very hard. I come out of the cleanse and I look even to eggs and I'm like, no, I cannot eat it now. I still want to be in this frequency. Somehow I
Yeah.
still want to preserve this frequency.
Yeah.
And you feel
Yeah.
really good. You get used to it. In the
Yeah.
beginning, of course, it's hard, but you get used to it after a while.
Yeah, it takes like 2 to 3 days, depends on the person. And that's why we always say, if you want to shift your food habits, like people that are normally having sugar cravings or fried food cravings or high carbs like donuts and breads, just
Mm-mm.
go on coconut water or water cleanse or juice cleanse for 2 days and it's gone. It's gonna go away. Then you're not gonna have those cravings anymore. Because it kind of resets your taste buds, it resets your likings, it starts bringing your vibration higher, then you start wanting something different. So it's a easy shift. So I totally agree on that.
And one of the questions people ask, how do I know I have parasites? And I think, in my opinion, I think everyone has parasites, kind of. When people tell me, I did a test, it doesn't come. I think in the world we are living, it can come. I was reading, it can even come from the soil. I was
Mm,
kind of
mm,
shocked that I don't know if it's true or not, but there is like
mm.
ones that come from the soil, like going barefoot. I was like, what? So it can come from, not washed vegetables. I think it's like really everywhere, just not sushi. People think it's just like raw food, but it's a bit like everywhere. And I think we gain it like every 6 months, we have something in our bodies.
Yeah,
I feel.
yeah, yeah. Many things that you said, yeah, yeah, accurate. So parasites can come, if we say physically, they can definitely come from, especially from meat that is raw, like sushi, or people that like eat lots of raw meat. And if this meat, most of the time, it's in restaurants, and restaurants don't take it so good care of it. So the meat, because it's raw, it naturally develops parasites to get consumed. So it's common to get the parasites from there, right? So that's a very common one in cities. But if you're traveling, then it's easy to get them, like in the rivers, because the clear or cleaning system, especially if you go countries where the cleaning system is not as great. So then it could be easily parasites, river, fountains, waterfalls, and all those things. It can
Just
come
by being
from
in a waterfall, you can have parasites?
you could, because they can come in, like through your anus. They can go everywhere. Uh, but there's a but on that, so I would explain the but. Just don't be scared. Um,
Good to
there
know.
there can be many. I mean, that's why when people brush their teeth, and also those countries, they're also afraid, and they are more prone to parasites as well. Like when people go to India, right, or they come to Mexico, it's often they get yet an
Yes, I got a lot in
infected.
Mexico.
Yeah, it's a very common one. Um, I mean, they can be everywhere. Parasites and bad bacteria, they can be everywhere. The point is that if we are generating a nice breed environment for them, they're gonna easily come in, right? So for a person that it's and stress, or a person that doesn't sleep well, a person that is taking a lot of toxins or not eating healthy, a person that's having bad thoughts, or just because our body it's inflamed at that moment, or because each person varies, sometimes accumulation of all of
Toxic
them. We
relationships, fear.
talk to,
One of the big ones is fear. I realized that one of my teachers of Gene Keys, Richard Root, he was saying in the last conference that we store the most of our trauma in our bellies.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it's really the trauma. It's really there. So the more you have unresolved trauma and wounds and fears and anxiety, it's also a nice environment, not just the way you eat, but all your emotional bodies. Like what creates a nice environment is just not the way you eat, not the physical, but also the emotional and spiritual bodies. They create good environments for them. So when we have a lot of trauma and processed trauma, like observe if you have food intolerances, food allergies, if you have anxiety, stress, really observe that, because those are all nice environments for them. And the more I realize that I am healing myself, I go more into this consciousness, raising my consciousness, the more for me it's easier to purify my body. And I have a program called like God the Super Glow, and many people like are listening to me know this program. And it's all about going to this detox at a mental uh, level, the physical level, the spiritual level, the emotional level. And the reason why my body was so, I was like very different. I had not fat, but I had a lot of water retention, and I was very different physically. And the more I I raise my consciousness, the more my body goes in perfect alignment in how it should be. And for me nowadays it's hard to gain weight. And I used to be a fitness addict trying to lose weight, and I couldn't. And the moment I started to cleanse myself, it became very natural to lose weight, and my body starts to, my skin, everything. So it's all related, the
Beautiful.
same with parasites. So the more you go deep into yourself, the more you go deep into your trauma, do the emotional work, they they're not going to be attached. They are also attached to your fears and to the traumas. So I can
Yeah.
also relate to that, and I wanted to share that because it, it's very important for people to look
Ye-
at.
I fully agree. So every time we have like fears and bad emotions, or stress, traumas, we are generating cortisol. And actually cortisol is worse than sugar or pollutants. So cortisol affects the processes in circulation and affects our organs as well. So when we affect the organ and processes, we make the energy stuck. When we stuck the energy, we create an acidic environment, which is the opposite of alkaline environment, right? And then that's when the parasites come in terms of emotions and stress and fears. It ends up generating this acidic environment. They get attracted to it because they love a acidic environment, and that's how it happens. And sometimes, I mean, life is not always linear upwards. Sometimes we are here and sometimes we go down. And another spiritual teacher, she said we are like a spiral, right? And we're kind of like sometimes going upwards and sometimes the spiral goes down. So it's important to be very patient and loving with yourself, that sometimes we're going to be like dealing with this parasites and take them and all out and feeling very aligned. And sometimes in our lives, we're going to go down again, but knowing that we can go back up again. And there are resources and systems that can help us to come back to ourselves. So I think, yeah, I fully agree on that. For sure.
Yeah. Wow, that's so much information that we just unpacking here. It's so useful, really, for everyone who is listening. I would say, don't rely on doing tests if you have parasites. Like, just do it every, like, as you're saying, 2-3 times a year. If you can do
Wow.
in like the 2 times in a row, like with the week in separation, it's so important. You will see massive differences in the body. We underestimate the power of the physical body in our emotional, mental, spiritual bodies. We underestimate,
Mm.
and it can be really life changing. As I told you, I had this relationship that the final step of the cord cutting was through parasite cleanse. And in my
Beautiful.
business and the clarity that I have, it's two cleanses. So I truly recommend. It's incredible tool um, for magnetism, because as we shared, it unlocks energy, it unlocks doors, because you are releasing the old. They are being fed by your fears, your wounds, traumas. They are fed by the past, by what
Mm.
is toxic. They are toxic and they are fed by what is toxic, right?
They're fed by, I like that when you said fed by what is toxic.
They are fed.
Amazing. I love how you had this calling for it and understand it so clearly and bring it up in this way. It's very beautiful to hear and see. And it's, as you said, it's something that just we underestimate or we just pass by and not really pay attention on how our body's reacting and receiving. So it's beautiful to hear. Thank you for addressing that.
Oh, there is something that we would love to address also more, the message to to the listeners. There's something you want to address more?
And me, I don't know. There's always so much to say about this. I was taking notes as you speak because I feel that this traditional Chinese medicine information is ancient, right? And it is said, or it's said in a way that it's very much it's common sense, right? As I explain it, you start realizing, well, this makes sense. It's kind of like mechanical, and it started making a lot of sense. And as I learn it, the more I learn, the more I found more aligned with it because my body knows. And in your case, you didn't study Chinese medicine, but your body already knew, and your body already like made a lot of sense into it. So I feel all this information, we all have it, but then the more we are like taking out those layers, either they are spiritual, physical, or emotional, we start getting more back to ourselves and finding all the information that we need, all the information, and that can come to relationships, that can come to health, that can come to how to live a good lifestyle, and in all aspects of our life, because at the end we are holistic. So I feel when you speak, it's like you're basically kind of explaining everything, and you're speaking so much truth without even going through the books I went through, right? And how can you do that? Because you are doing the work of taking out the layers.
I
So I
think the fact
found
that
that.
I studied the Taoist path really helped. So I kind of, some Chinese medicine I had to learn. So I think
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
so I think that helped. I'm not like super like I'm not
I was like, what?
completely
She's talking so much.
channeling. I also studied a bit. I have some background, and I did a
Okay.
bit, but also it really made me understand so many things. Going through the process, it really helped. So people
Yeah,
do not
and it
think
helps.
that, that
It helps to put the points and the dots all together, I guess, as well.
so
Yeah,
people do
for
not think that I'm Jesus and I connected with all the wisdom without studying. Like I had some like I'm not still
sure.
that intuitive, but uh,
Yes,
uh,
yes, I can definitely see you have you understand very much of the theory, but I would say also most of the people that are listening here, it would just say, wow, it does makes a lot of sense because they can feel it and they can sense it in their and their cells, some part of there's like, well, there's a lot of truth on that. And I'm sure it's like what you speak and what you went through, also your books and your study would make also a lot of sense for them as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So it's very, 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 very powerful, and I truly recommend. I'm curious now with the lymphatic one. I haven't done that one. I'm curious with the
Yeah.
lymphatic one, and yeah, I have a question for you. What do you think are the
Yeah.
parasites that are most hard to get out of the body? Like, is the intestine, brain, the blood ones? What are, in your opinion? It's hard to.
My opinion, the parasites that are hardest to take out are the ones that are further from the exit doors. So what are the exit doors? Exit doors could be any hole in our body, right? So that would be like your mouth, or eyes, or nose, and or vagina, or anus, right? Those are the exit doors. So if they cannot go be close to the exit doors, they're gonna struggle to go out, right? So, and also depends how big they are and where they're at in. But usually the ones in the intestines will be probably the most easy ones because they're closer to the exit door. Probably the small intestine will be harder than the larger intestine because the larger intestine, the colon closer to the anus, the small intestine will be harder. Liver will be harder, right? Like the more in the organs they are, they will be harder. So let's just think it like that.
Like the brain. I didn't know it was supposed to have parasites in the brain. That's next
Yeah,
level.
it's a very common, and actually those are the ones that create tumors and all diseases. Actually, tumors and cancers, they function as a parasite, and most of the natural treatments for them is an anti-parasitic treatment
No
because
way.
they, yeah, because it's like high alkaline system of toxins altogether, and then they kind of like generate like a big parasite basically. So it's a this is the way of clearing them. It's kind of like a anti-parasitic, but it's a bit more deep, kind of like anti-parasitic treatment. In Bali, I was working in a detox retreat center. It was the first detox retreat center. It's been there for 20 years. And most of my clients were over 60 years old. So most of them already had cancer or going through cancer or being given 3 months of living. And that's the way that we will address that because they will come and be like, hey, the doctor can't do anything for me. What can you do for me? So I make a full-on research of how people are addressing this in a natural way and find out that tumor and cancer, they function and the same as the parasite.
Wow. That's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane. And also, like one question I have for you. So these protocols that you developed, it's on based on your studies in Chinese medicine also,
Yeah.
and like you developed them. It's come from Chinese medicine, like you, yeah, it's coming from
Okay.
all
So
that.
yeah. So as I mentioned before, I grew up because when I was 2 years old, I developed a tumor, and my mom kind of brought in so many like alkaline diets and detox programs so that she can help to prevent anything to happen to me as I grow up. So I kind of grew up with doing lots of detox programs, right? And when I went to China and studied, and I was just looking at the herbs, and I was like, I think I can add this to here. So I start like bundling detoxes for me, and I make my
Okay,
classmates go on a detox. And sometimes doctors will be like, "What are you doing? Like that? Like what's going on?" And I'm like, I'm just putting together
mixing
something.
together. That's great.
So I use the detox programs that I learned and blended with Chinese medicine and basically created something on my own. And then when I can understand people's symptoms and ease them and all these things using traditional Chinese medicine to back it up. So that's kind of like what makes unique my offering because it's more of like my experience through life plus Chinese medicine first.
Yes, because when I was in Costa Rica, I learned like some things I knew, like the black walnut, wormwood, the garlic, so many things that we know. But I know that you added some special things. So I also wanted to, for our listeners to know the background of it and where it's coming from, and feeling fully safe here. It's really amazing, and I'm so
Yeah.
grateful that you are doing. I'm so grateful you came here to this podcast and gave all this information. Really, I invite everyone to do it. I'm gonna now try the lymphatic one. I'm curious about that one. and
Yes.
well,
The lymphatic, it's
amazing.
like as you say, how we underestimate so many things. The lymphatic system, it's everywhere in the body. It's 3 times bigger than our blood system. So it's there actually to clean our blood constantly. So
Wow.
the lymphatic, it's super powerful. I really like it.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely try that one. So it's amazing. Every time you do some spiritual work, do some cleanses, because it really goes hand in hand, and the benefits, they just go exponential.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about the body. I studied also like Ayurveda, like some about the body, nutrition as well. So for me, it's I'm very passionate about understanding how to hack, how to improve this technology that is our body. In a world that everyone is focusing on AI and technology outside, we also have to understand that we are also an AI, and we can really improve our DNA. We can improve our bodies. We can create longevity, and sometimes we don't need this super, you know, retreats with all this super clinics. If we can start from a young age having this awareness and working with these millionaire treatments, we gain so much longevity and vitality.
Yeah. 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 Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna post this on my podcast on Spotify. And yeah, hope that you enjoy, and please do the cleanses and the emotional work and the spiritual work and the magnetic work. You can find the magnetic codes program also on my website. You can find also Daniela, I will put her website here for her cleanses. And yes, thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. Amazing. See you guys. See you, Nez.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.